Like I showed earlier, many of us continue to see presentations where the presenter is screen sharing, they're sitting on a slide for 10 minutes, and your response is either this or this, when it should really look more like this. So how do we make sure that we are standing out and the audience isn't tuning out? One way we can do that is with the Think, Do, Feel matrix. Now, the Think, Do matrix was created by author and professor Andrew Abella. And what this matrix does is it helps you map out how your audience thinks and what they're currently doing. And then it helps you decide how you want both of these things to change after they see your presentation. Now, this Think Do matrix has since been modified by Prezi Spencer Waldron to become the Think Do Feel matrix, because emotion is going to be so important in connecting with your teammates and clients and persuading them to take action. And if we're really honest with ourselves, I think emotions are what typically drive big decisions, and then facts and logic come in to fill in the gaps afterwards. So this feel column is key. Now, these days, we're all so busy that we forget to focus on customization or making things specific based on who we're talking to. So again, if you can fill this out, you're going to be miles ahead of your counterparts. And if you don't have the answers, this is a great time to ask questions so that you can fill in the gaps. So I encourage you all to take a stab at filling this out before your next call. This is what mine looked like for this particular presentation. So this matrix is going to definitely help you create a more memorable presentation because you're going to have a better understanding of who your audience is and what you want them to walk away with, which is going to help you build the right content for them. Once you're done filling this out, the next thing you'll want to do is add movement to your presentation. So adding movement is going to spike your viewers' attention by boosting dopamine in the brain. And I can't promise you that your next video or virtual presentation is going to be as exciting as a car chase, but you can definitely get closer to it if you start adding some movement. So let's take a moment here to really confirm our hypothesis about the impact of movement with our first group activity. So if you could please let me know in the chat, for the last 15 seconds or so, were you primarily watching the video? Were you of the car chase? Were you looking at the picture of the car chase? Or were you looking at me? No wrong answer. I won't be offended if you weren't looking at me, but let me go over to the chat here. Samantha says video, Adrian video. A lot of video, car chaseless emails. Okay, appreciate the honesty. Rebecca photo, Sophie video. Okay, wonderful. Looks like most of you are saying video. Yeah, feel free to keep typing. I'll look at the chat afterwards. But yeah, so you're all seeing firsthand just how powerful movement can be in drawing attention. Now, I like to recommend at least 2 slides or movements per minute in a virtual setting. And they don't have to be big movements at all. So for example, you can do fun tricks like this to keep your audience engaged. And when you do creative movements like this, you also have that added benefit of creating novelty, something our brains weren't expecting. So that, brains love that. And so it leads us to pay even closer attention to what we're watching. So now that we have movement down, let's talk about our last tip for keeping engagement, power words. What are power words? Power words are words that trigger an emotional or psychological reaction when you hear them. And it can either be in a positive way or a negative way. So this is an example of what we hear a lot in presentations. Something like, this new data shows that we're on track. Okay, great. It explains what's happening, but there are ways that we can improve this. This exciting data shows that we are gaining command of the market. Words matter, and power words can act as a dopamine hit to the brain. And when you use power words, you're waking people up out of autopilot and getting their attention. So we're going to jump into another group activity here. So this is a list of just a few power words. There are hundreds out there that you can use in your next video or presentation. So from this list, choose the one that you like the most and one that you'll try to incorporate in a future video, or feel free to come up with a new one entirely. And then please share it in the chat with us. So I'm going back to the chat here. Okay, Balti likes accelerate, Samantha dream. Mikhail BS bingo. Okay, some people like dream. Okay, accelerate, maximize. Anyone else want to chime in? Or come up with their own word? No, all right, well, I'll give you some time to think about it. There's a lot of words to choose from. Collaborate, okay, wonderful, thank you, Simon. So yeah, keep typing in the chat. I want to see what you come up with here. So we have our 3 tips for engagement now. Let's do another recap. To keep your audience engaged with your videos, you'll want to use the think, do, feel matrix, add movements, and include power words. Now that you all have your new tips for gaining confidence and engaging your audience, you are well on your way to shining on the virtual stage.